Hi, I'm Sarah from the upcoming. A pleasure to have you here with us at London Film Festival. If you could just kick us off with a brief intro to your film, Fragments of Paradise, what can audiences expect?
It's a film about Jonas Mekas, an incredible man who's known most internationally as the godfather of avant-garde cinema. But one of the incredible things about him is that he pioneered something called the diary form, which is this very intimate way of kind of working through life and art, pain and exile with a camera. So this film is a compilation of the footage he shot from the time he arrived in 1949 to his death in 2019, sort of his life story, mostly through his own words, with friends and people influenced by him weighing in, like Martin Scorsese, Jim Jarmusch, John Waters, Peter Bogdanovich, folks like that.
And what was your way into this? Were you just a fan? Why did you think this was going to work so well as a documentary?
Well, I met Jonas when I was in college, and I had just decided I was studying political science, and I thought, like, I really want to change the world. I think film is the way. And so I had the opportunity to meet him, and I said, what should I do? Should I transfer to film school? And he said, don't go to film school, just make films. So in a lot of ways, I owe my career to him. And I was coming back to New York to make a film for HBO when he got sick before he died. And a couple of my friends, I'd known his kids, said, you should really think about making a film about his life. And so we really started looking into it. And it was a no-brainer for me. I mean, it's just been the opportunity of a lifetime. But he contains multitudes. Every decade of his life was so varied and so different. He gave us so much as filmmakers and as a community. So I think the hardest part was boiling it down to an hour and a half.
Going to be my next question, in fact. What would have been some of the challenges? Where do you even begin? Trying to get all that information, boiled down to a single film.
It took us about a full year to begin to digitize his whole archive. His archive is thousands and thousands of shot footage. I mean, the story goes, he bought a Bolex 2 weeks after he arrived, and he shot a little bit every day for his entire life. So that's about 70 years of footage. 3 seconds here, 3 seconds there, but it totals to thousands and thousands of hours. So I think we made the film out of about 500 hours that we curated from that 1,000, and we watched it all and then began making an outline from there. So it was an incredibly intense process, but I honestly think this is the way he intended his work to be seen, continuously, like a meditation over the course of 8 months.
Going on that journey, I guess, was a bit of a process of discovery for you as well. Was there anything that you found in the archives that surprised you or stood out to you particularly?
Yeah, because his son and daughter are executive producers on the film, so they opened up all of his archive to us, and there was quite a bit of footage that's never been seen before. And some of that footage, the footage that opens the film, and sort of some of the more emotional footage in the film is footage that he had never shown to the world. So, finding this footage over time, it was like he was becoming this close friend because of the intimacy the way he shot his stuff. The diary form was very intimate. It was always to camera. So it was like you talking to me, through all that time. So when we came across this more emotional stuff that kind of let you into his world, it was really impactful, really moving. And also, I think, really important to see someone struggling and overcoming their pain with art, which is fundamentally what inspires me the most about what he did with his work.
Talk us through some of the interviewees that you have included and what kind of struck you most about some of the conversations you had with them.
Jonas influenced, almost everybody in these vastly different ways. We've lost quite a few of them, over time, but people like Martin Scorsese, people like Jim Jarmusch and John Waters. John Waters was the first interview we did, and it was the height of the pandemic, and he was like, anything for Jonas, let's go to the theater and do it. Everybody was just kind of always like, anything for Jonas, any way I can help. Our interview with Peter Bogdanovich, I think, was one of his last. He died a few months later, but that was really an incredible and moving interview to do. They were close friends in the 50s. He inspired Peter to continue doing his work, in old New York. It was just, I don't know, it was really incredible. But some of the most incredible interviews for me were the ones we did in Lithuania. And we interviewed Vytautas Landsbergis, who's just so important to Lithuanian history, but also was really close to Jonas and knew some of his poetry by heart. That was a really moving interview, but also the interviews with his cousins who were there when him and his brother first came back after being exiled for decades from Lithuania. So that was really a special thing to shoot.
And what do you hope people take away from watching the film? Because I guess people who are already familiar with his work, people who aren't, and then there's also always universal themes that come out this about, kind of delving into someone's life and their family and the impact they've had on people around them.
What moved me the most is the way, I mean, Jonas was in exile. He wasn't able to go home for 27 years. Going to Lithuania, having that experience, I mean, it was more impactful to be there and be on the land where he was and see all that he had lost. I think as an American, like, I don't have an experience for that kind of displacement, but I do think that it is one of the stories of the 20th century and our time. And I just, dealing with loss, dealing with pain, dealing with all of these things that we all struggle with through your art, I think is just this incredibly important thing to show audiences today. It's like there is a way through. You can use the camera to find joy in your life. So I think if people can see how Jonas did that, but also kind of be inspired by some of the joy that he brought to his life, despite having been through so much, I think that's my real hope for the film.
And how does it feel to have the film here at London Film Festival?
It's amazing. I mean, I love London. It's so wonderful to be back. I just got here. I'm really excited to see some other movies as well. I mean, there's so many great movies playing. So it's just a real privilege and an honor. And everybody has just been absolutely wonderfully organized. And I'm so excited.
And how do you see the landscape right now? And in terms of your own career, being a female filmmaker, and maybe particularly in the documentary space, it feels like maybe it lags behind a bit in terms of the opportunities that might be there. I don't know how it looks to you.
I mean, this film was the first film that I was able to get financed, which, and it's taken me a long time to get to this place. And I'm incredibly thankful to my financiers, the Kuhn Hearts, for giving me that opportunity. But I feel like now that I've had this experience, you kind of don't want to go back. Like, I want to continue making films that I want to make and are inspired by. It's just such a different thing. And the heart of it, and then being able to show it to audiences and having them react in the ways that they have been it's so moving. So I hope that I still get more opportunities to make more films about people that I think are really important,
Do you have a subject that you would love to make a film about? Or
I do. There's this incredible teacher in the world called Zanzer Kensei Rinpoche, who's also a filmmaker. He goes by the name of Kensei Norabu, and I have this burning desire to make a film about him and his life and his work. So I want to stay on this path of making films about filmmakers who I think are changing the world.
Yeah, amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing all that with us, and really enjoy your time here at London Film Festival. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.